Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Ghosts and That. Before we get into anything today, I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody again that's listened to episode 1 and 2, everybody that's commented, everyone that's liked, shared, followed me on all platforms. I just want to say it's massively appreciated, and let's just keep sharing it, see how far we can get and see how many people I can get involved. As you can see by the title of today's episode is an interview. So it's quite a long episode, so if you want to just sit down, stick your headphones in, get a brew or a beer or whatever, and just relax and listen to these stories. I tell you what, some of them are pretty mad. I'll let Olivia take it from here.
My name is Olivia. I am 37. Nearly said 27 then, definitely not. I live at home with Freddie, my little boy, and we have 2 dogs. Otis is a spaniel, and Autumn, God knows what she is, but she's smaller than a shoebox.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I am a massage therapist. My partner Alex is at home with us part-time, part at home, part at the fire station. He's a fireman. That's it really. I'm quite a boring person. I don't think there's much about me.
Just normal life, innit? It's just normal. It's just good stuff. Good stuff. Not very complicated. That's how I like to keep it.
Well,
sometimes, yeah. So I obviously put out a thing on. What was it on an Offerton group? I think on it.
It was indeed. It was either What's on an Offerton. Yeah, it was What's on an Offerton.
Yeah, it was that one. Yeah. That's hilarious. That group, I love it.
It's very strange.
What day do the bins go out?
Does anyone know what bins it is today?
I know. Yeah, well, get a grip. So I think how many people replied? I think two people replied to it. Like loads of people liked it. Loads of people
shared it.
A couple of people shared it. And only 2 people got in contact with me, and I can't remember who the other lady was, but I did send her a message at the same time I sent you a message. She got back to me, and then that was it then. Aww. I got back to her, then she never got... Well, I'll follow it up at some point. But yeah, you told me you had 1 or 2 experiences that you would like to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what happened when you were 6 years old.
So 6 years... This is a bit more of a psychic-y type one, if this is the one we're going from, because I told you so many, and a lot of them did start off in childhood. So we had a cat called Max, a ginger cat, and I can't remember too much about him other than he was really loving, but I used to put him in the bathtub. I don't know why.
Amazing.
I didn't put him in water. I just used to dunk him in the bathtub, and he used to go mad, and it used to make me really laugh. But he was the loveliest cat going. Now, one morning I woke up and Mum came up and said, come, get ready for school. And I started to cry and said, I don't want to come down. She said, why are you being silly, Olivia? Get up. And I said, no, Max has died. And she went, the cat? So I said, yeah. She went, the cat's not dead, Olivia. She said, he's downstairs, as normal, being shooed off the table and probably eating your cornflakes. And I said, oh, okay. Went downstairs, had breakfast. The cat was being shooed off the table, so there was no big issue. And off I went to school. Now, on the way home, Mum was very quiet and solemn. And I'm just going home thinking, oh, what have I done today? Have I been in trouble at school and they phoned her? Or, what was going on in her head?
Yeah, standard stuff,
Yeah, and I was thinking, oh, what have I done? I was a little bit of a bugger at that age, I'm not going to lie. Anyway, we got back and she sat us all around this. I remember the table, a big wooden oak, circle round table, and we all sat there and said, I've got something to tell you all. I'm really sorry. But Dad came home on his lunch today, and Max was under the Christmas tree dead. Now, she said it freaked her out because I said, Max is dead under the Christmas tree in the front garden. Now, this was springtime, summertime. But every house that we buy, we always plant an evergreen Christmas tree in the front garden. So every house has had one. And I just remember those words of saying, he's not, he's dead under the front tree in the garden, Mum. And she said, he's not. Obviously, Dad's come home at lunch and there was Max. He'd been hit by a car.
Oh, Jesus.
And sadly, he passed away underneath the Christmas tree, which was crazy, actually, to think. So that was one of the things that happened at around 6 years old. If that's one we're going off, because there is quite a few from childhood.
Yeah, that's I remember that. Yeah, you did send me that one. Yeah, definitely remember that one. But I don't think you sent me any more from when you were 6.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Couple of odd ones when we were kids. But again, you know, you're a child, aren't you? Your mind wanders, but that one always very heavily sticks out. I think the only one I can vaguely remember was being around 12. And my mum's mum sadly died of cancer, and she had a bed downstairs.
Yeah.
Oh, she was such a lovely lady. She was very much like me. And she sadly, we had to have the back room all sorted out with medical beds and buttons, etc. And she had almost like a care call bracelet that when she needed my granddad to come down from the bedroom, etc., she'd press this button on her wrist, and you know, somebody in the house, be it my mum, my dad, or my granddad, would go down to see her and check she was okay. Now that wrist, that was taken off her when she was taken to the hospital, and it was never. I presume my dad just binned it. I'm not too sure. But for months and months afterwards, that chime would go, which was quite freaky, really, because the nurses said they'd never known that to happen.
So
unless
it just
was pressed.
Like go off randomly.
Yeah, and the alarm, and you have to be in range of it.
Yeah.
So it's not even like, you know, it's in the hospital and a nurse has shoved it in a drawer and someone's testing it.
Weird,
you have to be in range of the box. That was really odd. Could have been a fault, you know, but those are things that you can't really say, I know that was paranormal. But those things are probably, as I've got older, what got me interested in, I suppose, doing a bit more research on it all.
But I mean, you hear about stuff like that. Especially all the stuff I've listened to, you do hear about stuff like that, especially when people go and investigate old hospitals and stuff like that, and there's like a call button will go off and it's been disconnected for X amount of years.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's the same. It's strange. It's like it's sort of. I'm not an expert on this, by the way. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, no.
So it's like I don't know. It's like you say, it's one of them things you can't really explain. It could be a fault, but it is still a bit odd, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I seem to remember you telling me a story about a Ouija board.
Oh, yes.
Was this was one of your mates, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
Yeah.
My friend Adele, and I'll send her the link to this. We have such very busy lifestyles, Adele and I. And to be quite honest, I think even if I asked her to come over and join in on it,
she'd probably wouldn't.
Say, no, she'd probably say to you, I'll text a little bit over or I'll voice message. But I seem
to remember you telling me that, yeah.
It tore our friendship apart, to be honest. I'm not going to lie.
That's a shame, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, Andrew, we were the closest of friends. We were in each other's pocket more than, you know, a couple in the honeymoon phase. And it did frighten the absolute EBGBs out of us. Freddie's dad and I and his friend Jack were going through that student stage of really poor, you know, probably didn't even have a TV license. And we watched, I remember downloading something, a horror film about a Ouija board, and a couple of drinks one night, and he said, why don't we do a Ouija board? So I snubbed it off and said, oh, don't be daft. We're in student accommodation. There's no ghosts in here. Anyway, his friend Jack was quite spiritual, and he said, you don't have to have ghosts in a setting to be able to contact the dead. So I'm going, okay then. So we jumped onto Google and had a quick look at how to make a Ouija board, and we lived in, at the time, some student accommodation in Moss Side, next to a big Asda, so we ran over the road.
Oh, I know what you mean, yeah.
Oh, they're brilliant. Love that apartment. I was so young, so we ran over the road, 24-hour Asda, probably got some cheeseburgers at the same time, because there was a McDonald's in there, so that's how we know it was the Asda. And we went and grabbed, I don't think it was a shot glass, but a glass of some sort, got some card, came home, some salt, and made up this Ouija board. And Jack, I and Damien all sat there, and nothing happened. So we did it again a couple of hours later. Nothing. Now I was on the fence about it. Damien was completely, no, none of this is true. It's all, made up for films. And Jack was very much, I know this is real, I've done it before, but this glass just did not move. So that intrigued me more, because I think in my head I thought, well, if Jack is very, 120% these are real and it's happened before, if he wanted to almost, make this as believable as possible, he'd be pushing that glass, without us knowing. And nothing happened. So Jack said to me, well, we've all had a drink. Actually, I hadn't. He said, we've all had a drink over and live. And they do say that being under the influence of alcohol can block spirits from coming in.
I have heard that as well, yeah.
Yeah, so we just said, oh, let's give up for the night. So we did, and we shoved it all in a cupboard somewhere. I went to work that day and I texted Adele saying, oh, we tried to do a Ouija board. Anyway, it didn't work. So I said to Adele, why don't you come over and we'll watch this film anyway? It's very me and you. So she came over and we watched the film, and I could see her kind of her fingers going whilst we're watching it, as if she was in deep thought. And we turned the film off and she said, shall we do it? So I said, no.
Famous last words.
Yeah. No, it's not going to work, mate. I said, you must need a proper Ouija board. I said, you didn't see them writing cards. I said, they had an actual board. And she went, well, a bit of shits and giggles. Let's have a go. Right, okay. She was... I wouldn't say Adele was against Ouija boards. I didn't believe in them. But she's very, very... I'm a bit more... I'll go and rock climb with no safety gear.
Yeah.
I'll run into a burning house whilst I'm, I've got no fear. Whereas Adele is very careful, very health conscious, etc., etc. So I was surprised really that she wanted to jump in so hard and quickly. So we set it up, and she said, I've seen that you have to do a chant and you have to almost like speak to the devil, I think she said, or call in Lucifer. I cringe actually at how
it sounds very like proper teenage stuff. I seem to remember doing something like that myself.
I mean, bear in mind, I was about 25. It wasn't probably 2 years before I fell pregnant with Freddie. So I wish I was a teenager. So we Googled this chant, and the first couple of times we just, burst into laughter. And then we said, right, come on, let's concentrate. Let's be adult now. So we did. And we put our hands on the glass. And we're kind of looking at each other like, you speak. No, you speak. Well, someone do it. So we said,
slightly
hello.
Awkward, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, you feel a bit silly. Right, is there any spirits here that want to talk to us? Nothing happened. So Adele then put her hand on. Nothing happened. So I said, maybe we just need to put both hands on Adele. So we both put our hands on there. I'd say it took about 4 or 5 times until it started to very, very slowly move. Now it gives me shivers now thinking about it. I've done plenty of Ouija boards since. Not Ouija boards, I've done seances, so just yes and no. And I've done it with a friend of mine, Vic. Now, Vic used to wind me up by slowly pushing the glass herself, and straight away, you can tell somebody else is pushing it.
Yeah, you can totally tell, can't you? Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember now, even though I'd never done one other than with Damien and his friend, the glass didn't move. So prior to that, I'd never felt a glass move until it was with Adele. It's a strange feeling. Anyway, this glass started to move, and she looked at me. She went, are you doing that? I said, no, are you doing that? No. Right, okay. So we say hello, and it comes back, hello. So the first thing Adele said is, do you want to hurt us? And it span to no straight away.
Straight in there. Yeah, do you want to hurt us? Just to get that out of the way.
You're going to bring us any harm? No.
Well, you could stay then, you're all right.
Yeah, you're nice. So we asked her a couple of questions. How old are you? Some questions made sense, some didn't. I think when we said, how old are you, it went to yes. Again, Adele said, do you bring us any bad luck? No. So we were quite happy at this, but we were still very, are you doing this? So we continued pushing it, and then Adele said, right, for the sake of, this feeling like we're wasting time or not, I'm gonna get you to tell me something about Olivia that I don't know. If you're real and ghosts are real, you must know something about Olivia that she's never told me. She said, and bear in mind, I am her best friend, and I know this girl inside out from primary school.
Yeah.
So it moved to yes. I asked the Ouija board, I said, right, okay, I want you to tell Adele something that she doesn't know about me. Now, to be quite honest, like I said, there's not much Adele doesn't know about me. But the one thing that I had kept from Adele, I didn't think that anybody knew, to be fair, other than my auntie. I'd very sadly fallen pregnant and lost a baby. And as much as Adele was my bestest friend in the world, I would never have wanted to have put that on her. I was already extremely scared to tell her I was pregnant, and, you know, friendship kind of green-eyed jealousy that she would never want to feel. But I knew it'd be there. So the fact that the pregnancy didn't complete, but then on top of that, I didn't want to go with my hurt and sadness when she couldn't at all. She didn't know. Now, when we asked the board this question, it spelt out a very specific wording, which I won't say, but it spelt out basically that I'd had a pregnancy that Adele was unaware of. Now, Adele didn't know this. There is no way she could have known. The only person who knew was my auntie, and that was because she's down with one of my next of kins, and it was a very urgent rush to the hospital. They phoned her, and it was kept between her and I, and it always has been, other than my partner at the time and Andrew. That's as many people who know that. And now obviously Adele looked at me and said, "What does that mean? Are you pregnant?" And I said, "Absolutely not. You know, I don't know. Just I'll tell you about it later. Let's go off that topic for now. Let's continue." Then it moved on to Adele. And I said, "Okay, tell me something about Adele." Now, mine was quite petty. I never knew Adele's middle name, and she would never tell me a middle name. It was something we joked about all the time. And she would never tell me. And I didn't know a middle name. And it just spelled out middle name, Laura. Now, that was really odd. Now, again, for argument's sake, we could say that one of us was pushing that glass, and I was answering my question for her, and she was answering her question for me. Now, yes, Adele could have, you know, she could have gone, "Oh, what does Liv not know about me? Oh, my middle name, I'll do that." I would have never have given Adele the information that it came out with me.
That's a good point,
Never would I have mentioned that to her.
Yeah, exactly.
And she didn't know about it. Her face was a confused state at this point. Tension started to get quite high then. So we carried on asking the Ouija board, "Where are you from?" And it kept spelling out Stockport. We were like, "Oh, wow, okay, you're in Stockport."
That's crazy,
really odd. We're all the way in Moss Side and you're from Stockport. So Adele said, "What did you do as a job?" And it started to spin a little bit. So she said, "Where did you work?" And it spelt out Hatworks. So we were like, "Oh, okay, Stockport Hatworks." And then I can't remember the one question that we challenged. We challenged the board, basically. We challenged the so-called spirit. And rather than it answer yes or no, it was spinning to hello, hello, goodbye, goodbye, hello, hello, goodbye, goodbye. And then just did this crazy kind of swirly dance. Now, again, we didn't really know much about Ouija boards. It was.
Can I just stop you 1 second? What kind of motion did it? Was it? It wasn't a figure of 8, was it?
It was a figure of 8. Now we didn't know that.
That's never a good sign.
No.
Apparently so.
It makes, even when you said that, was it a figure of 8? The sherbety feeling down my back and my hair stood up.
That's the second. That's what I felt when you said that. I was like,
yeah, not a nice feeling. It's like my hairs now on the back of my neck have gone on. But at that point, we just noticed it was doing the same continuous, motion. Now, it was only a few days later that we took. At the time, I had a dog. I'm going off topic a bit here now, but we had a dog called Diesel. And he's like Otis, he has to have a figure of 8 lead over his nose. But I never knew it was called a figure of 8. We called it the naughty lead. Because he was a naughty punk. But when it fell on the floor, Adele went, look, that's the shape that was on the sole. And I went, oh my God, that's a figure of 8. I said, that's what we Googled the other night. And it said, figure of 8 shapes after when you've done a Ouija board. And we were like, oh my God. But going back to that, yes, it started doing this weird figure of 8 movement, which we just thought it was going a bit crazy and winding us up. So we started saying, it was going hello, hello, goodbye, goodbye, and then started spinning this crazy figure of 8. And it was getting quite aggressive, to be honest, aggressive movement. So we both took our hand off the glass and it stopped moving straight away. There was no change in atmosphere. We didn't really feel scared. We felt unnerved, but the actual atmosphere didn't feel like there was any, difference, no cold air, nothing that we could say this is really frightening us. It was just unnerving. So I said to Adele, come on, let's just stop now. I knew that question could not come out.
Yeah.
So that in my head was going, this is getting a little like a film now. So we said, right, we're going to go now, goodbye. And it kept pushing to no. So we're going, no, we're going to go now. We're going to shut the door down. And then it started moving the glass to, I lie.
That's not great, is it?
No. And I remember that. Not in the slightest. So we're going, who lies? Liv lies? No. Adele lies? No. Are you lying? Yes. And then it went to, I watch you. So Adele said, where do you watch us? And it went to sleeping. So Adele said, well, who do you watch sleep? Me or Liv? So it spelt out Liv. So I said, right, okay. Now Adele was there that night. She wasn't there the night before. And as much as she was in my pocket, I didn't tell her what dog I went to bed with that night.
Yeah.
And we had 3 dogs in total. We had Titch, Diesel and Grace. And each night I'd take one of them to bed and the 2 would stay in the living room.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, if you watched me last night in bed, who did I go to bed with? And it spelt out Diesel.
Oh. Goosebumps.
So at that point we were like, oh. So I said, right, enough is enough. We put the glass in a jiffy type bag, a sandwich bag. We took it downstairs with the cards. We chucked them in the bin. We stamped on the glass. It didn't really shatter, but it was quite a thick glass. Yeah. Chucked it in one of the big industrial bins, and we went back upstairs. And believe it or not, for Adele being such a health person, she said, does Damo still have weed here? And I said, yeah, why? She said, please can I roll a spliff? I just went,
well, needs must.
But if you want to, but I don't want one. And God bless her, I hate the stuff, which God bless her heart, she tried it and failed, it knocked her sick. And we just lay up, we could not sleep, Andrew. We were absolutely petrified. We got into bed at about 6 a.m. We had to wait for the light to come back to the, the room properly. And I'd say a good week. I was studying, so I was fine to just lie in bed and do nothing. Adele took a week off work because she wouldn't go back home on her own.
Wow.
And one morning she'd gone out to take the dogs for a walk, and I was cleaning, and I was carrying some. It was a big, beautiful apartment with a really long hallway. And I was carrying some bin bags through the hallway. And I honestly can't tell you if it was just my eyes saw something funny in the corner. But as I walked past a bedroom, and we always had the doors open because the dog would just pop a handle and open it anyway. And as I was dragging this bin bag through the hallway, I saw something stood at the bedroom, looking out the window. And it looked like a lady in a black dress.
Jeez.
When I actually looked, there was nothing there. But in the corner of my eye... Was it
corner of your eye sort of thing?
Yeah. And that was that, actually. After that, we never did it again. I know my dad's had quite a few strange ones when he was younger.
So I was going to talk to you about that, actually, because I remember you telling me something about an iron crucifix.
Yes. On Dad's wall.
Yeah.
Dad was from a big Catholic family, 4 sisters, 4 brothers plus him, very strict Catholic mum and dad. And it was an evening where they were, a lower class family over from Ireland. Bedding was sparse when you had 9 children nearly and a husband and your mum and dad living there. And 4 of them shared a bed. And they only had 1 duvet between 4, so my granddad would take up big overcoats for them, big duffel overcoats for them to have each to keep them warm in winter. And one evening, the priest came over as he did his rounds. in the downstairs, and my nana would put on a big show for the priest. She'd potten up her Irish language, and she'd bring tea in a teapot, and the children were in bed all snuggled up to their feather duvets. She didn't tell them they had an overcoat. And Michael and my dad started arguing and falling out. And Michael tore the arm off the overcoat. So my dad come down and he's, Mum, she goes, what? The priest is here. Father McGuinness is here, go away. Well, Michael's ripped the arm off the fecking overcoat when we were going to sleep. Oh, my nana was absolutely fuming. Sent them upstairs and separated them into the loft bedroom and some into the smaller bedroom. And they just couldn't sleep for arguing. And I'd say it was probably about 11, 12 o'clock at night. Nana and Grandad had gone to bed. Father had gone home, and Michael and my dad decided to do a Ouija board. And they sat upstairs doing this Ouija board, and nothing happened. The glass didn't even so much as move. But then they heard this almighty crash downstairs, and my Grandad shot out of bed. Nana shot out of bed. Dad shot out of bed. If I can remember this story rightly, I'm sure it was my Grandad and my dad got downstairs, and this big iron crucifix, and it was a big crucifix, it wasn't little, that was bolted into the wall, had come out of the wall and was slap bang on the floor. That frightened the life out of my dad.
Because something that heavy would be fixed to the wall, wouldn't it?
And they were old houses, it wasn't a new build house that was a plasterboard wall.
It's like solid brick wall, like this thing is stuck to the wall and it's not going anywhere, sort of thing.
You would have noticed cracks in the wall. So that was quite frightening. And then I think it was a couple of years later, my Grandad put the crucifix on a chimney breast in one of the bedrooms. And Dad had come off his paper round and went back to bed in the morning. And I don't think anyone stayed in this room. I think it was a bit more of a guest room because a few of the older siblings had grown up and, moved out. So the house was a bit more sparse. And I can't remember the story behind it, but he woke up and he said the bed was vibrating. And he shouted to my Grandad, Grandad, we've got a fecking earthquake. And my Grandad come running up and he's like, there's no earthquake. Irish is terrible. There's no earthquake. What the hell are you going on about? He went, the bed just vibrated. It lifted off the floor. That never, there was no earthquake. So they're the stories of my dad's around the Ouija board. But the one me and Adele did, it will haunt me for probably the rest of my life, I think, because of that specific question. If someone was to ask you your darkest secret, you wouldn't tell them if it was going to cause them any pain or upset.
I was going to ask you that question, actually. Have these experiences sort of like affected you in your normal life? Do you know what I mean? Are they always just in the back of your mind constantly, or is it just something? You know what I mean? Is it always there?
Yeah, I'd say that pops up a lot. I think more so because Adele and I were so close, and when Adele, the week after she left, she never came back to the flat because it frightened her. And then she started working evening shifts, so she didn't have to work day shifts, so she was always in the hotel in the evening time and not at home on her own. So then my evenings with Adele were cut, massively. And then our friendship started to dwindle then, because we weren't spending 2 or 3 nights together. It was, probably once every couple of months.
Every now and again,
and then very sadly, Adele was diagnosed with quite a severe illness. And I'm sure Adele blames that on that board. But then I was also diagnosed with very severe illness. Freddie was 2, so it would have been 6, 7, 8 years later. Probably about 2 years apart from Adele. Now, I'm not saying it is because of the Ouija board, but 2 very healthy young women who didn't really smoke, weren't a typical going out, drinking. We were quite clean girls, really, in the sense of, we didn't take
lifestyle and
alcohol,
stuff.
lifestyle. Our bad thing was having too many cheeseburgers at McDonald's twice a month.
There's nothing wrong with it.
No, not in the slightest. Yet we both had a big sea illness at such a young age, with no hereditary, connection. And that frightened us both. Whether that was, just pure coincidental, I don't know. But we did drift apart, and I haven't seen Adele other than her wedding, which was a very strange atmosphere between us. I haven't seen Adele since. We just catch up on Instagram every now and again.
So this is where we head into where you're living now.
We've had the house for about 20 odd years. Nothing that I massively know about. But when we moved in, again, it didn't have a nice homely feel to it. Now, at first, I put it down to the fact that I didn't want to move in here. I had a lovely apartment in Hazel Grove, albeit it was a little bit too small for myself and a baby, but at that time I had a relationship with somebody that thankfully didn't work out. Anyway, we moved in and Mum and Dad came in and said, we'll do it up fresh for you. What do you want? And the lad who I was dating, he controlled the narrative, so to speak, of what he wanted. Yeah. So it was painted all grey, leather sofas. There was no homely feeling to it. So I always put it down to a bit aesthetics. It wasn't, warm and cosy.
Yeah.
We had a dog called Betty, little old Staffordshire Bull Terrier that we'd adopted for not respite, end of life care.
Yeah.
They said she had 6 months maximum left to live. God bless her heart, she lived a further 6 years. Wow. that girl powered through.
She's not going anywhere.
Not going anywhere. Now, she used to drag herself up the stairs almost. She was like that dog off Family Guy.
I know what you mean, yeah.
We can't remember his name.
Herbert's dog.
Yeah.
Herbert's dog or whatever, yeah.
That's the one. And we used to think this noise going up the stairs was her at night time, but then you'd kind of go, oh, no, she's at the end of the bed. And it was like somebody dragging a suitcase up the stairs, like bump, bump, bump. So we couldn't work out the noise, but it did frighten the EBGBs out of Freddie. And then one evening, we're laying in bed and we hear this noise, bump, bump, bump up the stairs. And Freddie got himself really upset and said, it's really starting to scare me now. Yeah. Freddie's now 12 and still pretty much gets into bed with me when Alex isn't here because he can't tolerate his bedroom. He'll sit in on his game with the lights on, but sleeping in it still gives him EBGBs. Yeah. So for him to kind of pick up on this as well was a little bit tingling. So we had this episode of this noise coming up and down the stairs. That suddenly stopped. And it was only one evening sat in the garden with my neighbour Dean, who said to me, very drunkenly, my dad comes into your house sometimes. Pardon? He went, my dad. I know. I went, does he? He said, yeah. He said, I see him in the hallway, I see him in my bedroom, and then he floats through your bedroom into Freddie's. He said, and he just smiles at me and walks through the wall. And I kind of looked at him and thought, you're off your rocker. You're absolutely off your rocker. I only knew him as my next door neighbour. It was about 6 months later, he turned to me and said, I saw my dad again go through your wall the other night. He said, he just floats through. He said, and I think he must check on you and Freddie. And I said, really? He said, yeah, because there's no connection. And he said, I've been in here, 30 years, Liv. I've never known this to happen before after he died. Oh, right, okay. It gave me a bit of the EBGBs, but again, didn't think anything of it. Up until I had a reading done on the phone to a lady, a psychic reading.
Right.
Now, I will always say there's something very strange that goes on in my mind. I'm never going to work on it. I'm never going to, say to anybody, I can read tarot, I can tell you your future.
So I was going to ask you this as well. Have you ever decided that you want to try and enhance some sort of spiritual stuff? Do you know what I mean? Like, in that sense? And that answers my question.
Yeah, one of my dreams rang true less than a week ago. I've had this dream for 6 months. I said to my college tutor, I told her, I said, if I'm not in next week, it was as if I'd predicted my own bloody future, which I did. If I'm not in next week, the bloody kitchen's flooded after the amount of times I've had these dreams. My kitchen flooded, and it was exactly how I saw in that dream.
So someone tells me you're pretty sensitive to this kind of thing.
Yeah, but only in dreams. And I can tell you the difference between the vivid ones are the ones that usually come true, or they are very much like the ones that you kind of wake up in the night and go, oh, that was a strange dream, and by the morning you can't fully remember. What I don't want to do is step into a world of giving somebody wrong information because I've put 2 and 2 together and made 5, and it's just my ADHD brain picking up patterns and thinking that's going to work. So that's why I've even had to switch my own brain off from reading into things that I think, oh, I've got a feeling this is going to happen, even though there's been a good few occasions where it's been right.
So it's like you're suppressing it, sort of thing, because
I would never want to wrong, I can tell myself, I've got a funny feeling something not right's going to happen today. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. Or I can say, oh, I think this is going to happen today. That's really good. And it might happen, it might not. But I'm only letting myself down there.
True, yeah.
This weekend going to Brighton with Alex, I didn't want to go. I was anxious. To me, that anxious feeling was a really big warning. Don't go. There's something that's going to happen, and it's going to, cause issues, or someone's going to need me and I'm not there. I'm in Brighton. It was a loveliest, relaxing weekend. Got home to a bit of drama from the gas meter, but other than that, there was no big dramas. But in my head, it was like, I don't want to go. I've not got plans. I've not planned this properly. I'm rushed. Granddad's needed me all day and all night, and now I've got 2 hours to pack. And so it was anxiety. But that is having an ADHD brain. You go bam, 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 bam with 12 different scenarios. And I can't put that on somebody else and say, got a feeling you might get married, but I think you might cheat on you before, because
that's a bit overthinking. Yeah, definitely.
I don't want to step into it out of fear that I may give somebody some sort of wrong information, and that's just because that's my brain picking up a pattern because it's happened to somebody else that I know of, and the patterns join. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think to safeguard anyone else from my little overthinking brain, I've just not worked on it. But again, we start with a cat, don't we? That was very strange. A couple of other occasions as I've grown up, a couple of things that have happened. Again, it all seems to go around dreams. That's the strange one. Alex's ex-wife, I knew she was going to get an Audi Q7, a white one, before she'd even divorced Alex and got rid of a Volkswagen that she had. Bizarre. I just saw her in a dream, every time in a dream, in an orange flowy dress and this white Audi Q7. And when she pulled up outside the house, she pulled up in an orange flowy dress and an Audi Q7, and my brain just went, oh my god, you can't even make that up. Bizarre. But no,
the chances of that, definitely.
So weird. So obviously this psychic had been saying to me, you've got to open up to it, Liv. You need to go and join a circle. And no. She said to me, I need to let you know there is a little girl who sits in your house, and she's 2 or 3, and she is very connected to Freddie. And I said, oh, right. She said she almost looks after Freddie. She said, and there is an old Indian medicine man in your house, and he's.
I remember you tell me about this. Yeah, sorry, go on.
No, it's okay. That was the bit that I think intrigues me the most.
Yeah.
Because so many different psychics have said it.
So it sounds like maybe he's like guiding you. I don't know, or like
influencing my dreams. Maybe,
I was literally going to say that, like influencing your dreams. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because
there's
got to be something, Andrew, because it's a few different psychics that have said it, and I've had many readings. I will never go to a physical reading ever. I will always do telephone ones. Energy can carry through vibrations can carry through voice, so they can carry through the phone. And as much as people want to say no, I can tell you, I've had some phenomenal readings, and the dates, the timelines, I've got them on video record, recording off my iPad the calls.
Yeah.
I've asked if I can record it on my iPhone, and some of them have been bang on. Some of them have been useless. Some said to me, oh, you'll make the fire service, you'll meet somebody new in there. And I'm thinking, I don't want to meet anybody new. And, and I didn't make the fire service. I failed my bleep test at that point. So, you've got to be very careful what you take in and take out. But the ones that are very specific are the ones that I have gone back to and had nothing but good, good review. I've given good reviews. I've got great results from them. Absolutely brilliant. And the ones who I've had I mean, I can talk to you because I'm telling you my stories where I am very, very quiet on a reading. Yes, okay. I don't answer questions. I don't ask questions. So I don't give anything away because I want to know. I don't want them to listen to me. You're paying per minute. You don't want to be chatting on.
Exactly, yeah.
They've all picked up this ancient Indian bloody medicine man, and a few of them have picked up this little girl sat on the sofa.
So have they said where this little girl has come from or why she's there?
No, nobody said why she's there. They've just said she's very attached to Freddie, and she came from Freddie from, do you know Hazel Grove?
Yeah.
Do you know where Asda is?
Yeah.
So opposite Asda was, there's 2 apartments. It's now a beauty shop, but prior to the beauty shop, Freddie was not even one when I moved in there. So 11 years ago, it used to be, 7 years ago, used to be a workwear shop, and there used to be a big dummy dressed in high-vis.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember
the hanging off the wall dummy?
Yes, I do.
So
I do.
Above that shop was my apartment, my very first apartment with Freddie.
Right.
Now the pub at the back burnt down. There was a fire in there when we lived in there. Nobody was harmed in it because it was derelict already. It was abandoned. But many, 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 many years ago, and I'm talking, it was a grade 2 listed building. So prior to you and I being born, there was a fire in there and children did die in there, according to locals.
Yeah.
And a psychic said to me, this little girl attached herself to your son when he was very little in a house or an apartment that you lived in. And Dean came over to my house, the guy next door, when he walked in. This is a gentleman who said his dad walks through. He said, He said, I don't like to frighten you, but I've just walked in. There's a little girl sat right on that sofa.
No. Absolutely not.
Yeah, no. Not
today.
Not today, love. But never. Freddie's had a good few different things that have happened that have frightened the life out of him, but he's never mentioned a little girl. So we decided to invest in some dog cameras. And what we worked out is that when we left the house, Nelson would shoot straight upstairs onto my bed and just sit like a wolf and howl at the window. And Springer Spaniels are stinky dogs, so we always had the windows open. So poor neighbours were just sick to death of this wolf dog howling constantly. So we invested in some really expensive, decent at-home CCTV cameras that we could speak to and listen to. And they did work really well. We'd jump on the camera, and as soon as Nelson heard, us go, Nels, it's okay, the howling would, calm. Our voice would almost, calm him. So we were quite reliable on these cameras. With Alex working away a lot, the cameras were used more than just for, the dogs at that point. Especially with different time zones. He'd, jump on the camera at night time and, oh God, right, Liv's asleep, I won't phone her then. We put 2 cameras downstairs, one in the bedroom. I started going to bed and putting the 2 downstairs on motion record and connecting it to my phone and my Alexa. And if anything was alerted, obviously my phone would make a buzzing noise and the Alexa would speak motion detected downstairs, camera 1, camera 2. So I'd gone to bed one night, settled down into bed. Alex was on a night shift out on a job. He jumped back in the fire engine. I'm flat out asleep in bed, and I heard the Alexa go off and my phone go off. So I'm like, oh God, what's in the house now? A bloody fly at the camera again.
Yeah.
So I sat up, but curiosity killed the cat, didn't it? You don't specifically want to just go, oh, it's just another fly, it's just another mosquito in summer. So I clicked onto the camera, and you can either watch the playback or you can go straight onto live. So I jumped straight onto the live stream and could see the camera, which was on the windowsill on top of a church-looking type candle. We'd never lit them because they're so dangerous, we're having dogs, but it was just balanced on top for, so it could kind of cover the whole side of the room. And as I clicked on it, I just saw this strange smoke that was doing this, basically round and round.
Like a mist?
Yeah, but heavy.
Yeah.
A heavy mist. A very, very heavy mist. It wasn't orby, it wasn't dusty, it was very, very dense. And straight away I was like, what the frig is that? But your head, when you see that on a camera, your head automatically goes, holy shit, the house is on fire.
Yeah, something's not right here, yeah.
Yeah, so I jumped onto the settings and turned the settings onto light mode. So I went back onto nighttime mode and you could see this kind of smoke swirling away. And then the camera was interrupted. It just knocked me off live stream. And then Alex phones me. So I answered the phone and I went, hi. And he went, what the hell is that? So I said, I don't know. I said, how did you see it? He said, it alerted me as I got into the pump, but I had to do my paperwork. He said, and then I had to buckle in. He said, and then I've clicked onto it thinking, what the bloody hell's Liv doing awake at this time? And, you know, the dogs always stay with her in bed with the bedroom door shut. So why is she downstairs? He said, so I've jumped on it and saw that, jumped on the bedroom camera and can see you sat on your phone. So I said, I don't know what it is. And he just said, right, okay, stay on the phone, stay on FaceTime. He'd obviously rang me panicking, thinking, what's going on? I've answered the phone a bit like, hi, a bit moody. And he said, right, you need to be really, you really need to listen to me now, Liv, because as far as I'm aware, I need you to go downstairs. I need you to get a wet towel or a dressing gown first. So I had a silk nightie. So I went to the bathroom. I said, Alex, I can't smell smoke. He went, I don't care what you can or can't smell. Do as I say. Go to the sink, dip it in the sink in water, then put it on. So I'm like, right, okay. At this point, he's in a fire engine full of bloody firemen. You know, he must have been mortified.
Yeah.
Put that on, please. Right, okay. So I get to the door and he says, right, I want you to go down onto the floor. I want you to smell underneath the door. I couldn't smell any smoke. Then he said, I want you to check the handle with the back of your hand.
Yeah.
So I do. What's the heat from the handle? I said, it's freezing ice cold. Right, okay. I want you to very, very slowly open the door. At this point, we've got the camera obviously on the windowsill on the candle. We've got a camera just on the not the mantelpiece, but some built-in cupboards at the side of the chimney breast, facing towards me as well. So I've walked into the lounge. You can see this smoke on the camera, but I cannot see it with my naked eye at all. There is absolutely nothing there as far as my eyes can see. Alex says, right, I need you to remove, pull the sofa out, please, from the radiator first. Let's just make sure that the heating's not set fire to the sofa. So pulling the sofa out. No, nothing's there, don't worry. Right, switch the lights on now. Is anything there? Nope. Can you smell anything still? Absolutely not. No, nothing. Obviously, he's not on the camera at this point. The cameras are just recording me because they go into motion detection. So the light's blue on the camera because it's noticed motion, which is me. Alex is on FaceTime to me.
So can he still see this on the camera while you're on camera as well?
Yeah, so he's on FaceTime to me. So at this point, he's flicking between FaceTime camera, FaceTime camera, FaceTime camera.
Right, yeah.
He couldn't see it on a FaceTime call at all, which was really bizarre. But obviously, you don't have night light, whatever
night
it's
vision,
called.
yeah.
Night vision, but you could not see it on a video call at all, which was really odd. So then he says, right, I want you to walk to the cooker. So I said, right, well, the kitchen's pitch black. I don't want to walk in there. I don't know why I was so frightened. It was bloody smoke. We knew it weren't a fire, but I was absolutely petrified. And he just said, Liv, I'm on the phone. If you want to switch the FaceTime call off and take it to a normal call, that's fine. Put your torch on, whatever you want to do. But I'm on the phone. You need to go into the kitchen, please, and check the cooker's not got gas coming out. Right, okay. Before I'd even moved from where I was on the sofa, the camera picked up the smoke that was at this point hovering over the cuddle sofa. It just took off into the air like it was bloody Mary Poppins in an umbrella going up to the chimney.
Really?
Yeah. And then you just saw this. I want to say, Alex says, no, it's not. It was your shadow. Hand on heart, a shadow cannot walk in front of you.
No.
A shadow doesn't move before you move. A shadow moves.
If it's your shadow, it moves when you move, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if we had the lighting correct, okay, the shadow may for some reason bounce in front of me, but I've got to be moving. I hadn't moved an inch in this hooded, tall Andrew. I'm 5'2". tall, looked like it had a hood on its head, just made its way across the wall. And then you see me walking behind after this thing had started to move. I went and got back into bed. God bless his heart, Alex will live to sleep on a shift. He gets paid to go to bed. He sat up all night long and he was on camera, off camera. The strangest thing is, he could get on the bedroom camera every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It would not let us connect. It would not let us turn on motion detection downstairs. We couldn't even so much as connect to the camera. It just completely cut us off until the morning time. Obviously, we had the footage, and then sadly my phone was stolen. So that footage was on my old iCloud. I'd very luckily sent it to quite a few people the next day. I've just got to find out and ask people if they've still got a conversation from me from, 2.5 years ago, and have got that. I'm sure my mum will have it on the multiple phones that she's had for 10 years. But that was very, very, very strange. Really, really strange. And I can never fully explain it. We will never know what it was. It wasn't dust. We blew vape in front of the camera a couple of days later to see if we could, kind of mimic it a little bit. We lit a candle and blew a candle out, even though we knew none of those are the reasons why. I suppose, again, curiosity got the better of us. There was nothing. There was...
That's crazy.
You couldn't... It wasn't smoke. It wasn't, damn... I don't know what it could have been. Again, it come from that sofa where that little girl, apparently sits a lot.
Yes. That's, yeah.
It danced off the camera so pretty.
Yeah.
Honestly, it floated up as if it was just, that old cliche, if you had to be there. Very, very bizarre. Very bizarre. As far as I'm aware, touch wood, we've not had anything really happen since then.
So, saying that, I want you to tell me about the man in the pub.
Oh, my favourite story.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I'll try not to waffle on for this one. I love this one because
short, sharp, bang.
Short and sharp, done. I will never forget his face.
This one actually stayed with me. When you told me this, it actually stayed with me for a bit. I thought this was so weird. Head.
So bizarre because I will see his face. It will pop up in my head still now. I used to go out with some girls after work. We worked in a pub, but I didn't drink at all. I like to be in my own comfort zone, and alcohol takes you out of it, doesn't it? And I worked in a pub all day long. The last thing I wanted is to go and have a drink. A few of the other girls that were there, it was in the, not the Flying Coach, the Bull's Head in Hazel Grove.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a few of the girls afterwards said, right, why don't we go down to my friend's lock-in? He's got a beautiful pub. I can't exactly, it's somewhere through Cheshire kind of way anyway. Let's go down there, we'll have a couple of drinks. He's got a bit of a lock-in, so to speak. So I was like, right, okay, yeah, whatever. Don't be the boring one, Liv, go along for once. They got in there and there's a table with loads of different wines on and all different types of wine. And I just thought, I'm not in the mood. I was tired. I worked all day. I worked in the pub in the night time. I just wasn't in the mood. And they're all chatting on and being girly. And I just went and sat at on a bar stool at the bar. And the gentleman that ran the pub come over, and he was an older gentleman. It was his son who had his friends over doing the lock-in. And he sat down, he said, not your scene? And I went, no, not really. He said, do you want a glass of wine? I said, oh, God, no, I don't drink. And he laughed. He said, do you want a Coke? I said, oh, yes, please. And he went and got me a glass of Coke, and he put some olives on the side, and we just sat chatting. And as you do, you're talking, and, you just turn your head. And something caught my eye at first. I think it was a pretty brass, tankard sort of thing. And I went to look at it again. And as I turned my head back to the bar, a man was stood in front of me. He was very, very tall, big, dark, beautiful eyes, big fuzzy eyebrows, a moustache with a little curl on the end, very pale skin, very 19 kind of early 1800s probably even attire, I'd say. A big top hat on, and he looked at me with the most loveliest welcoming smile. His eyes smiled at me as if he just went, hi. And then he went. And I just looked at the
in, when you say went, as in he just disappeared out of nowhere, that or walked off? How do you mean?
I think I looked at him and I just went, what? And then as I blinked, he was gone. It was as if my eyes kind of looked, and I just, when you smile at somebody, and then I kind of went, he's not meant to be there. What was that?
Yeah.
And then I blinked and he was gone. And I looked at the landlord and I said, I've just seen a man stood in front of me. And he went, go on. And I said, pardon? And he went, go on.
Yeah, go on.
I said, he's not there now, and he certainly wasn't there before. And if he walked in here now, I think I said something, it'd be like he's a Halloween party, fancy dress. And he just took my hand and he stood me up and he said, come with me. And I was a little bit like, I'd never set foot in this pub in my life. I'd never been there. I'd walked in and sat at the bar. That's, that was the first and the last time I've been in there. And he took my hand and he guided me down this little tiny pokey hallway, I presume heading to a kitchen or the toilets maybe. And he pulled a little wall light. And below this wall light was this big picture with lots of different people stood in front of a barn. And he pointed to him and he said, is that him? And I said, yes, down to the smile, the moustache, the hat and clothing. And he said, you're not the first person to see him and you're not the last. And he likes to pop up to people that he likes and you've just seen him. And I just went, wow. He said he was the original owner of this land. And before it was a pub, it was a restaurant. Before it was a restaurant, it was restored. It's a grade something listed building. And it was originally a cattle barn. And he was the owner of the barn and the land and the house. And he just pops up to people. And I thought that was lovely. That's always stuck in my mind because I can still see that lovely, welcoming, lovely man. And that was bizarre, absolutely bizarre. And out of all of them, other than the very strange Ouija board and the camera issue, you forget I can't remember what Adele was wearing that night. I can't remember what day it was that Alex was on shift. And I can tell you every episode. You think, you remember certain things, don't you? But I remember word for word, clothing that he had on, crisp white shirt with a big high collar, a little dicky bow around his shirt. And that was bizarre. He was just a really friendly guy. Didn't scare me, but his face has always stuck in my mind.
What do you say when people try and discredit what you've experienced?
So why do you believe in aliens? Because a lot of you will...
You could believe in what you could... Oh, well... Yeah, it's like come on now. Do you know what I mean? There's all sorts going on that we don't know.
There is, and if you did a poll and you said, do you believe in aliens and do you believe in ghosts? You'd probably get 70 to 80% of people that would say yes to aliens and probably 30-40% of people that would say yes to ghosts. Some people believe in aliens and ghosts, some people believe in just ghosts, some people believe in just aliens.
This goes back into something I think a lot as well. Like when people go on ghost hunts and stuff like that, they're expecting in this time frame, I want to see this and I want this to happen. People can live in houses for 30 years and experience one thing that scares the absolute life out of them. Exactly. And then they'll have a few other things happen, but they're nothing. Yeah. And it's like, you can't predict when it's going to happen. That's... Yeah, you just can't do it. You can't go, well, if I go to, say, one of the most haunted hotels in the country, that I'm going to see the ghost of a grey lady. You're not.
It's not going to happen.
You could stay there every weekend for 50 years and never see anything. I think a lot of people like yourself and other people I've spoken to are a lot more sensitive to this kind of thing.
You could go for hours and hours and hours, couldn't you? It's baffled my head, and I'd hate to get into it before bed. But...
I know, I've not even had my tea yet.
Oh God, I'm sorry, mate. No, it's
fine.
It's I think you're doing amazing doing this. It's lovely to be able to tell my stories without people going or getting bored, or my dad loves them. My dad's told me plenty from him being young. Granddad's told me quite a few, but I'm not going to start giving you them now. You need to have your tea. But hopefully your podcasts will get other people to go, well, actually, do you know what? This did happen to me.
Yeah, I hope so.
many years ago. I'll tell you one thing that I did do. There was a radio show, and I'm sure I've said this to you. Alan, I'll try and find who he was. I'm sure he's possibly passed away now, but he used to do a nighttime radio show around 10 o'clock. And I used to put him on when we used to go to bed. And he'd just talk, people would ring in and they'd talk about anything, and he would argue with them. He loved a debate. I'm sure it was Radio 2 or Radio 4, and he'd just debate. You could ring up and say, I want to discuss Boris Johnson, and he'd use the most foul language, and he'd debate him. It was his way or no way. He was very black and white, very straight talking, didn't believe in anything than, normal. And I rang in and said to him, I believe in ghosts. I want to know your take on it. And he laughed and said, absolute bullshit. And I said, why is it bullshit? For what reason? And I told him the Ouija board story, and he was baffled. He couldn't argue back to it. It then had other callers ringing in saying, well, actually, when I was young, this happened. Or actually, 2 years ago, I lost my wife and this happened.
It only takes, it's like a domino effect. One person says something, then everybody else just comes in and goes, well, actually, this has happened to me as well. This has happened to me. And then you can't discredit somebody else's. You can't if that many people are experiencing things, it's very hard to say, well, you're all lying.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't do that. It's just, no, in my opinion, no.
No, absolutely not. I'll end this on, have a look online if you haven't already at the stone tape theory.
Oh, no,
that's very interesting.
Yeah, I've looked into that quite a bit. I know. Yeah.
That interests me. But thank you very much. It's been really enjoyable.
But yeah, I appreciate you spending the time, and I can't wait to see what other people say about it.
Indeed. No, thank you very much, and I'll catch up with you soon.
Yeah, cool. Thank you very much.
All right, Andy. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. So there's some pretty crazy stuff in there. I want to know what you think about everything. Let me know your theories on stuff, and send me a message on all my platforms. Search Ghosts and That on Facebook, Instagram and TikTok. There will be updates about other interviews coming up in the pipeline, and if you've got your own spooky story, send it to ghostsandthat@gmail.com. I really appreciate you listening to this episode. I think Olivia appreciates it too, having people listen to her stories. And like I said, let me know what you think about them, and I'll relay all of it back to Olivia and maybe get her on again at some point. Anyway, until then, keep an eye out for them ghosts and that.